Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I'm hopeful you are a Patreon patron, and thank you for your patronage. If instead you are a YouTube subscriber, thank you as well for your patronage. If you are neither of those, and even if you are one of those, please try to remember to link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. There are instructions in the show description below. Today's question from Sifted from Majora Tom. Do you see another publisher filling the third-party void left behind by Activision, Blizzard, and Bethesda now they're owned by Microsoft and Xbox? I do not. I think consolidation, I'll go back to the Ed Freeze question, is horrible for the industry. It concentrates too much of the creative in a handful of companies, and by definition, they're going to be less creative because they're going to be really good at some stuff and really bad at other stuff. And when you had a bunch of independent companies, in order to survive and thrive, they were kind of forced to try new things. And when you get incorporated into an immensely profitable company like Microsoft, you don't have to take risk. And so I don't mean that Microsoft isn't creative. They are, but they won't take as much risk because they're looking at this from a Game Pass perspective and what makes Game Pass work, and they're not going to take chances on things like Skylanders, which was fun. I mean, it was interesting. Like, I look at the Skylanders IP. Why isn't that a mobile game? And it totally could be. Why has it never been made one? You think it'll be made one under Microsoft? No chance. What if they just made it a digital icon? What if it's like a Fortnite skin? If you have this skin, that character works in your game. You could do it. Instead of a toy, don't sell the toy. Buy the skin, and you can play that character for $1. Why not? I think that innovation is stifled when you get common ownership of a bunch of formerly creative companies. And I think Bethesda and Activision were pretty creative. And so, not that Microsoft's bad, but I just think they call this groupthink. You put 3 different groups into one, and they're going to end up thinking like the guy who pays them thinks. So, no, I think it's bad. And nope, I don't think anybody fills the void. Look at EA. EA is the most heavily licensed of the big publishers remaining. Take-Two maybe, but they really haven't been that innovative. They haven't really acquired that much. They did hire Michael Condrey. I don't know what his game's going to be. And he's really good, so maybe. But you really haven't seen much out of Sid Meier. I mean, he's done Civilization and XCOM, but nothing really else. And the Rockstar guys, they put out in the last decade, in the last 10 years, literally, the only 2 games they produced are GTA and Red Dead. And they used to do a game a year. So, we're seeing fewer and fewer titles, and we're seeing, I think, innovation stifled, and it's unfortunate you're not getting, Bully and Manhunt and Max Payne and Midnight Club, and God, there's so many titles they have. So much that they could be doing, but they're not. Anyway, yes, I don't see a publisher filling the void. I hope that I'm wrong. I think if anybody's going to, it'll be Take-Two. Embracer's a amalgamation of a bunch of smaller guys. Maybe, if they have a breakout hit. But Take-Two bought Zynga. I think Take-Two's serious. I think Take-Two sees where the world's going, and I think they're serious. Let's hope. Today's question from YouTube, from Lost Legacy. Will this generation of consoles ultimately be viewed as transitional, since we won't see the effect of all these acquisitions until the end of the generation at the earliest? Oh, you are so optimistic. I think it's transitional as we transition from consoles to no consoles. And I say that because, think about what you need to watch a movie. If you wanted to watch a movie back in the day, you either watched it by appointment when it was broadcast at 9:00 p.m., or you rented a VHS tape or a DVD and you popped it into your player and watched it when you wanted. And now you don't have to go get the VHS tape or the DVD. You want to watch a movie? Boom. And I mentioned on an earlier episode, I watched What We Do in the Shadows because somebody told me that was the New Zealand comedians that I thought were funny. And I decided I'm watching it that night, and I did. Boom, when I wanted to. That's what I think is going to happen with games. I think that we are going to play any game we want, anytime we want. We will preserve the $60 sale, I think, but I think we don't need consoles anymore to do it. And streaming services are proving this out. You do not need an Xbox to play Game Pass. You just don't. You can play Game Pass PC, no Xbox required. It's very clear you don't need one. And getting it on your TV screen, what's the difference? I mean, Apple TV, by the way, broadcasts content from your PC to your TV. There's AirPlay does that. There's plenty of ways to do that. I think it's just a matter of a year before TVs come equipped with that, or before a Roku stick says, you want to play Game Pass on your TV? The Roku stick will do it for you. I'm certain that Roku is working on it. Everybody is. Chromecast is working on it, and with Chromecast, the Chromecast Ultra does it for Stadia. Just nobody is a Stadia subscriber. So everybody's going to do it. So you're not going to need a console to play a game. And the fact is, if you remove that friction, where you don't need a console and the game comes out in 4K at a high frame rate, and let's solve for multiplayer by having it peer-to-peer PCs doing all the work, all the heavy lifting instead of consoles, you're going to remove the barrier to entry for hundreds of millions of people, and you're going to sell more games. So I really think this is a transition from console to no console, and doesn't mean there won't be a next generation of consoles. It just means it won't sell as many units because you won't need it. So some people will buy it because it's better. Just like, say, a gaming PC versus a laptop, most games are not played on a gaming PC. They are if you're a super hardcore gamer with a couple $1,000 to build a custom PC. But most games are played on a laptop, on a $500 laptop, because everybody has one. And kids who are going to school who have a $500 laptop play their games on it, because why not? It works. But if you want to build a custom PC, or even you want an off-the-shelf Origin PC, they're pretty damn good. And like I said, I think, I haven't done this in 2 years, so please don't correct me about the prices of PCs. But the last time I built a custom Origin PC was $2,500. I didn't hit the buy button. The PC I have now, I bought the beginning of 2019. It's good. I have an Alienware that I customized, and I paid about $1,500 for. But my God, my next one will be an Origin PC, and a high-end one, $3,000, $4,000, because I like playing PC games. And my next one's going to have the highest end NVIDIA, graphics card, and I'm going to play virtual reality, and I'm going to play Oculus, and I owe it to myself. I'm going to do it. But you don't need that, And again, streaming is going to let you do everything on your TV. And again, except for multiplayer, which you're going to need a microprocessor local to render everything real time, so that the server doesn't have to do that much. I think we are in transition away from console altogether. Yes, there will be another generation. No, it won't sell as many units. And you know who doesn't care about that? Microsoft, because they would rather everybody be a Game Pass subscriber. You remove a $400 entry point, and you're going to have 100 million more people playing games, and that's awesome. So Stadia came up with a solution that costs money that had no content. So they were like, pay us $15 a month, and now you can use our service. And the service had no games. Microsoft says, pay us $15 a month, and here's 200 games. That's the difference. So if Google had gone out and spent the money on content, they probably would have succeeded. But it didn't work. Luna, unfortunately, had Mark Whitten running it, and not unfortunate that he ran it. He's brilliant. And Mark left right when it launched to go to Unity. And Mark's brilliant. I really love the guy. But they don't have a visionary running it right now. And then Andy Jassy moved up, and Frazzini, who was the games guy, left. And the only person there left at Amazon who's like a game guy is Christoph Hartmann, who's very, very good. But their 10 years away from having enough content to make that thing make sense. Now, fortunately, Amazon's got deep pockets and will probably pay up to get what they need to get. I think Luna ultimately has to be a free service and has to just say, buy a game and it'll work, and we'll make it work on your TV. And since we already have Alexa devices, ultimately you just need an Alexa device to be your Fire TV stick. Like, it works. And I have to say, like, I don't know how this works at all. I got this LG TV. I was reading one of my Amazon emails one day and it goes, have Alexa change the channel on your TV. And it works. I don't know how it does it, but it doesn't change my DirecTV channel, and it doesn't change my Roku box, and Alexa does, and I don't know how it does it. But I'm like, Alexa, I want to watch this week's episode of The Boys, and my TV just goes to it. But it uses the Roku device. I don't know how it does it. It's somehow figuring out how my house is configured. I don't know what it's reading, but it is freaking impressive. So Amazon's going to win. You know, Microsoft's going to win too. But Amazon should win selling us $60 games, and Microsoft's going to win subscribing for $15 a month. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you are a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, thank you so much for your patronage. If you are neither of those, or even if you are those, please remember to link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. And there's instructions in the show description below. You've got to re-up that every month, so if you haven't done it in a while, please try to relink them. We get paid a couple of bucks for nothing. Costs you nothing, so please do it. It's free to you. It makes a difference to Shane. And at a minimum, if you're watching this a week late because you have no money, follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter and call me out and say I guilted you into it, and I will definitely give you a shout out on Twitter. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.